Welcome another day to learn more about yourself and your connection to the cosmos through the lens of the Bhagavad Gita. I'm Atmadarshan or Laura, and my co-host Oliver is nearby. As I'm recording this live, it's coming up on a holiday here in the United States, which is called Thanksgiving. We are going to be having a free, brief meditation on gratitude. And if you'd like to join, or if you're not watching this when it's recorded live or much later, you can always see the link below for the latest connection information. Okay, and I'm glad we're connecting because, as you know, we are getting toward the end of our year-long program. We're also getting to the end of Bhagavad Gita this time through it. We've gone through it a couple times, and this is reflective of the cyclical nature of life. In the West, we have a very linear view of time, but in the East, it's more cyclical. So, for example, in the West, if I were going through, say, bookshelves and getting rid of books, I might say, I read that book. I started at the beginning and I went to the end, I'm done. Whereas in the East, it can be more, I started at the beginning, I came to the end, and I start again. I come to the end. And even stories like the Mahabharata or other epic poems from the East, they don't start at the beginning and move to the end. It seems like, for example, the Mahabharata starts right in the middle and then works out back into the past, forward into the future. And of course, it depends upon which version you're reading. But the cyclical nature, I've mentioned before the cyclical nature of time from the Eastern perspective, particularly the Indian subcontinent, how the world starts out in a golden age, and then the three subsequent ages, everything kind of devolves. Like the first age is of truth. Nobody cheats each other. Everybody is concentrated on their best selves. And then by the time we get to the age we're supposedly living in, which is the Kali Yuga, the age of Kali, everything's gone to heck. And nobody trusts each other. Everybody cheats each other. Everybody lies. People can't tell truth from illusion. Oh, I wonder if that sounds familiar in some ways. And similarly, there are said to be 4 ages of a human existence. And if we take the Western perspective, we start at one and we end at the other, and we're dead. And from the Eastern perspective, we start at one, we come to full circle, and then maybe we get another chance. It's completely up to you which view you adopt. But I'm mentioning this with the cycle of human life because it relates with the cycle of time in the Bhagavad Gita. And I've been talking about what happens after the Gita. After the Gita, about 30 some years thereafter, Krishna actually leaves the material world. And it happens in quite dramatic fashion. All his countrymen die. His palace and kingdom sink. Some say gets covered by the ocean. Krishna's brother purposefully leaves his body by meditating on the shore of water, and then a great snake comes out of his mouth, goes into the water, swims away. And Krishna himself lies down in Shavasana, which is how it got the name corpse pose, and is accidentally killed by a hunter. But what I'm pointing out here with this death is that Krishna went through a period of leaving everything. He was a prince. He had a family. He had material wealth. He had friends. He left that all at the end so that he could move on to the next stage of whatever that was. And similarly, in the cycles of human life, it's said that there's a time when we are young, the world seems simple, we're more truthful and simple ourselves, the golden age. Then we reach an age of accumulating things so that we can have career, family of our own. Then there's a third age in which we start to let go of all that we've accumulated and start to get the next generation ready. And then there's the fourth and final age in which we spend that time contemplating what comes after our physical passing. So, technically, in the Gita, and now in my life, Arjun and I are in the third stage of letting go. And we're reaching that here in the Gita study that we're doing. We can equate this to spiritual life. So, for example, if we look at yoga or the Gita at first, we're like, we know nothing. And it's very easy for us to be receptive as we get more along the path and we go, well, this isn't right, this is wrong. And we start to judge other techniques or other approaches or other translations and things like that. Then there's a time of accumulating techniques and mantras and mudras or versions of a spiritual text. We accumulate all this so that we can use it in our life. Now, the stage of letting go. Stage of letting go, and that's what we're in with the Bhagavad Gita. And that has to do with the topic of chapter 17, which is Shraddha or faith. Earlier in the life, in the second stage of life, we put our stage in, well, the first stage of life, we can say we put our trust in our innocence, our vulnerability, that people will care for us, tend to us, and raise us correctly. I should say constructively and beneficially. There's no one correct way. And then in the second stage of life, we trust in the material wealth and the connections to a loved one or families of our own. The third stage is about letting go. Letting go. Where do we put our faith when we're giving away and we're letting go of all that we had that seemed to support us so far? So I encourage you to think of that today with transitions coming up in this practice, in your life, in the world. The time to let go. What can you let go of? What can you let go of? It can be hard going through stuff, even because it's not just the stuff as we get a bit older, it's the memories attached to the stuff, right? It's the memories of the teachers attached to the techniques we learned. And in spiritual progress, when we learn to start letting go, we look at all the techniques, mudras, and mantras we've accumulated, and it's time to just pick a little one, couple. Like for me, my practice is going basically to focusing on the Gita. Out of all the texts, out of all the techniques, out of all the approaches, and you have to find what works for you. So today, the dedication is to Maria. May you have a smooth transaction. To Mary R., birthday time, birthday girl, birthday person. Valon, wow, breaking boundaries at your school. Congratulations to you. And for all of you today, I'll invite you to contemplate. This is the time in the third stage of life when it's not only about letting go, but about letting go in a way that serves those who come after. What would that look like in your life? What do you need to let go of, and how do you let go of it so that it serves those who come after you? Let's do a pose. I'm not free. There we go. I'm free. Oliver. righty, dear friends. Time for our 5-minute contemplation. And again, what do you need to let go of, and how do you let go of it in a way that serves those who come after you? He's coming after me. Be a good boy. Oh, I gotta leave you in here. 5 minutes. Hey, boy. Stay, cat dog. Welcome back. Rest assured that as our sadhana comes to an end and I let it go, I am looking at ways to keep it constructive for what comes next. And you can find out more about that also with the link below. You can also keep finding out by tuning in. So I hope I get to see you again very soon. Until then.